Well, we knew stage 8 of the 2025 Giro d'Italia would be an attacking stage, and it delivered. Luke Plapp took victory, his biggest win of his career, and we have a new pink jersey race leader. I'll get to that in a moment. This Giro d'Italia coverage is brought to you by Bicycle, the best place online to sell your pre-owned bikes. Head on over to bicycle.com/FloBikes, list in minutes and sell to cyclists worldwide, and get your 30% off seller's discount code. New pink jersey, well, it's off the shoulders of Primoz Roglic and onto the shoulders of veteran rider Diego Ulissi of Team Astana. They wanted so much out of today's stage, and they got it with the pink jersey. A Tuscan rider who's going to enjoy that jersey tomorrow when we head into Tuscany. But let's talk about today here in Marche, and it's a region that's famous for its technical hills, right, lefts, all sorts of climbing all day, and that's what the riders had with that Cat 3, Cat 1, Cat 3, Cat 4 climb. Riders were attacking left and right. Everybody seemed to have gotten the memo that today was going to be the day for an escape. However, it took ages for the escape to form, which meant we had a fast stage out there. Mads Pedersen was particularly active, attacking, and at one point free, and while free, he picked up the intermediate points competition to add to his Ciclamino jersey, no longer in the pink jersey, but that was all brought back, and it wasn't until that valley before the big Sasso Tetto Cat 1 climb that we saw the move start to take shape. Thanks to the boys in yellow, the Visma Lease bike team, Dylan Van Barl was hitting out. Also, Wilco Kilderman. They were key in forming a group that was around 18 riders over the top of the Sasso Tetto. We're here in the Apennine mountain range. Stunning out here. I was out running this morning, logging more kilometers on Strava and really enjoying the beautiful views with the snow right over the top of the mountains and the crystal blue skies. Okay, I'm losing concentration here. Back to the racing action, because that group of 18, well, they weren't happy to work together, and eventually we had a group of 7 that included Ulissi, including Luke Plapp, including a few others in there. That would be Dangerman, and yes, Wilco Kilderman was present. Also young rider Igor Arieta from Team Movistar. Now all these riders would come into play when we had that Cat 3 climb, the penultimate climb. Luke Plapp was there. He attacked, caught those riders because he was a bit distance off, caught them, and then went on the attack solo, essentially soloing 50 kilometers. He has the engine to do so. Remember, he's a time trial Aussie god, the rider from Melbourne. Unfortunately, he's had his share of incidents that held him back from winning big time, and he's been in the service of working for leaders over the years, including his stint at Team Ineos, and that contract came in a large part thanks to Tassie rider Richie Porte. Richie Porte helped him get that contract, helped him through the years, and also encouraged him earlier on this year when he was just coming back from the wrist surgery and all the setbacks, and encouraged him and said, hey mate, now you got the momentum, you can do this. Let's reel it back, because in the Olympics, Plapp had crashed. I think it was in the TT on those wet roads, and then he had a great result in the Aussie Championships ahead of the Tour Down Under, where I think he had 6th, and then he had to stop to do some surgery on that wrist to correct things, and he was sidelined. Coming into this Giro d'Italia, well, his goal was to simply work for his teammate and perhaps go for a stage victory, thinking further in week 2 and week 3 and circling that long TT that's to come right there, Pisa Luca, the Pisa Luca TT on the horizon after the rest day. But today, he thought, why not? Why not give it the opportunity? Speaking with him there in the mix zone after he celebrated, he came over the line. His helmet was off immediately, hugs from the staff, there from the press officer as well, the Italian press officer, Jeffrey. And then we had him there in the mix zone. He was explaining everything. He noted how in a lot of races this year, you see the attack, the early attack, it ends up sticking, because as often in cycling, back behind, there's no coordination. And today it worked out for Luke Plapp, who was emotional. We could see that in the mix zone. He doesn't win often. And today, after being touted so often, we interview him so frequently because he's just a great spirit, a great Aussie mate, and it's always fun talking with him. And after you interview him, you always feel uplifted yourself. And thank you, Plappy, for doing so, and congratulations on the victory. But we had a lot of action going on behind. Now in the peloton behind the group of 7 that was then whittled down to less and less numbers, behind Luke Plapp, we had just had Ulissi and we had also Wilco Kilderman chasing. There was a game being played back behind in the peloton all day. It was the team of Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe, Primoz Roglic, who was in the pink jersey, and they were controlling the gap, making sure Ulissi, who was the best placed rider up there in that move, chasing Luke Plapp, at start of the day at only 4 minutes and 1 second behind Primoz Roglic. Also further back, some of the other escapees, there was Lorenzo Fortunato, who was around 2 and some change. So those riders were challenging for the pink jersey out on the road. Primoz Roglic wouldn't mind giving it away. That means his team doesn't have to work day after day, and he doesn't have to do all the press conference speaking with us in the mix zone. However, for the gravel stage tomorrow in Tuscany, it's going to be key to have that lead car. So the race leader has car number 1, team car number 1, because if you need servicing on a technical day like that, your car's the fastest to get to. But we'll have to sort that out in another day, because as you know, Diego Ulissi is now the new race leader. I think he has it something like 17 seconds over Primoz Roglic, who's back in 3rd place. And Lorenzo Fortunato, well, he's 2nd place overall. Also of note, although we didn't see a lot of attacks going on in the GC group behind, Juan Ayuso took a sneaky 1 second on Primoz Roglic today. So this race is really shaping up for the days ahead. And I talked with Primoz Roglic, who didn't want to stop and speak and just speak calmly with some press, and Primoz is really gentle with me and patient, so he spoke as he rode towards the team bus, and he referenced the Vuelta last year, not having the leader's jersey, having it, and then having it at the right time. He also talked about the stage coming up with the gravel stage, and about maybe how the team might want to give it away. We'll have to dissect that interview later, short and sweet, like Primoz all the time with his interviews. Today we're celebrating a great win for Luke Plapp, 24 years old, born on Christmas Day back in 2000, and a veteran 35-year-old Tuscan rider, Diego Ulissi, who's in the pink jersey after 8 stage wins in the Giro d'Italia. Well, now he's got the pink jersey and he's going to be riding with it tomorrow in Tuscany. And Luke Plapp, well, congratulations, Plappy, stage 8 of the 2025 Giro d'Italia.